Two young lovers still tugging at the ribbons and bows of the honeymoon banners on their year-long love affair today. That's beautiful, isn't it? That's absolutely beautiful. I'd commend the writer of those words. Welcome back to the garden sessions of the Blackfoot Book Club for a personal story. And here goes. Beautiful Basel and a 6-goal thriller. FC Basel 3, Liverpool 3. 2 decades on from these 4 or 5 days crisscrossing the French-Swiss border, I can't recall exactly where on the outskirts of London I picked up codename Buns, but I did, and the collective we then headed towards the cross-channel ferry port of Dover. With a company car, a fuel card and several photocopied copies of our planned route, this was living the dream. The open road, a vitally important European football match for the Reds of Liverpool, and two young lovers still tugging at the ribbons and bows of the honeymoon banners on their year-long love affair to date. Buns was not an avowed Red when we first met, but through my obsession soon adopted the correct footballing faith and was more than happy to go along for the ride into Switzerland. Working at the time on the edge of London as a runner on a TV production which starred Simon Pegg, and long before he became synonymous with films such as Mission Impossible and Star Trek, Buns took unpaid leave to guide us through the many mountain tunnels near the French-Swiss border and on through to the city of Basel. The only hiccup on our outward journey to Basel was of my own making, and one that still tickles me to today, if only for its utter absurdity. Following the multiple printed copies of our route planner, we hit the first of many French toll roads as we inched, bumper to bumper with numerous other cars, nearer to the toll booth window. I then spotted a permanently raised barrier. Then I made the mistake of spotting the Union Jack flag of the UK, and rather ridiculously assumed that any British drivers were free to waltz on through for free. All perfectly rational, as I'm sure you'll agree. So I sped towards the still upturned barrier, and we were away, purring along the toll road, with the euros still in our pocket, and a patriotic pride in our nation. Well, okay, not quite. But at the time, and until the very last time that bloody annoying French lady in the next toll booth screamed "Ticket!" at us, I thought I'd completed a perfectly rational driving task and taken the free ride afforded to all members of the British Empire, obviously on a motorcycle. The lady in the ticket booth was apoplectic that we didn't have a ticket. "Ticket!" she wailed as we threw our collective arms up in befuddlement and probably played twice what we should have, and just to avoid her screeching about a bloody damn ticket anymore. We arrived without further self-imposed calamity in Basel late in the evening of the night before the game. The city was bustling with life and absent only one precious commodity: a hotel room. Whilst I parked up and watched with growing frustration yet slight amusement, Buns ventured from one establishment to another in search of a hotel room, and all to no avail. I can recall her now trudging in and out of these places, with a growing anger building inside her, and a look of despondency at me at the lack of any vacancies at all. As we left Basel in the car and to search elsewhere for a bed for the night, we noticed that one particular place she had tried had a rather penchant for hanging a red light in a window that we hadn't quite seen before, so it was perhaps for the best that we slept in a hotel on the French border and under the flight path into a nearby airport. We weren't really aware of the airport when we tried to check in, and we roused the hotel owner from his slumbers. He came wearily to the door, almost as though admitting paying guests for the night was a chore, and wasn't in the least bit impressed with our smiling faces of utter relief that we'd actually found a room free and available. The owner held his obedient cat in his arms, and after the intercom discussion we just had, we assumed the word he was saying, but which we couldn't quite comprehend on the loudspeaker, was cat. As we tried to stroke this cat he spoke of, he angrily pointed at the card on the front door, meaning the card reader, the means of which allowed you automatic entry to a room on payment from your credit card, thus negating the necessity of disturbing the owner for a routine check-in, at way past midnight, with a cat in his arms, and a rising fury both in his face and in his voice. Oh, how we laughed the following morning as we recalled the owner's bright red face and the aeroplane seemingly coming into land about 3 feet from the hotel. We hailed a taxi and had to return for our passports as we were officially staying in France as opposed to Switzerland, so we had in effect 4 journeys in one attempt, but as we drank in the Swiss city of Basel, it was worth the stop-start nature to a day's exploration of the city before the football later in the evening. I found Basel reminiscent of my trip to another Swiss town, Sion, just 15 years earlier, vibrant, colourful, respectful and very welcoming. We simply ambled around for hours without a care in the world, I would guess in beautiful retrospect. We found an incredibly busy bar and a more amenable empty shop nearby selling cut-price beers and sat outside with hundreds of other Reds excited for the winner-take-all game ahead. After losing twice to the formidable and impressive Valencia side under the watchful gaze of Rafa Benitez, eventual replacement of tonight's Reds boss, Gerard Houllier, in 2 years' time, and a home draw with tonight's opponents Basel, Liverpool's task was crystal clear on this night. They simply had to win to progress, past Basel in the group stage, to join Valencia in the knockout section of the Champions League. A draw or a defeat and they were out, so it really was a winner-takes-all de facto cup tie. Buns and I found our seats low down and right in the corner of the away end of St Jacob Park and marvelled at the noise and atmosphere being created by the capacity crowd of 35,000. We took up just one seating space rather than two as I stood for the entire game behind her in that warming cuddle kind of embrace and watched the game unfold over her shoulder. Or was I watching it through my fingers into utterly disbelieving eyes? All 6 goals on this Champions League evening were scored into the goal right in front of us and not 50 yards from our standing viewpoint. All 6, and 3 of which tumbled into the Liverpool net in just the opening 29 minutes of the game. The half-an-hour mark had not yet been reached, and the Reds, in a rather pleasing Real Madrid evoking all-white, were 3 goals down and already needing 4, yes 4, goals in just 60 minutes or they would be unceremoniously dumped out of the Champions League. It took Basel just 2 minutes to take the lead through Julio Rossi after a smart 1-2 around the Liverpool penalty area left a simple cross for Rossi to tap into a virtually empty net, and 20 minutes later the lead grew to 2-0 via his Argentine striking partner Christian Jimenez. A long goal kick from the Swiss goalkeeper Pascal Zubabula was headed on in the Liverpool half of the field before falling into the advancing run of Jimenez, who slotted the ball under the advancing Jerzy Dudek in the Liverpool goal. A catastrophe was unfolding and just 7 minutes later it became mission impossible as Hakan Yakin's free kick was well saved by Dudek but straight into the unmarked path of Timothy Atuba, who slammed home the rebound and the Reds in all white were 3-0 down and going out of the Champions League. Or were they? Goal. Basel 3, Liverpool 1. Murphy, 61 minutes. It took Liverpool 16 second half minutes to score, but it was a wonderful goal all the same, and one that barely anyone celebrated as surely the cause was lost by now. Emil Heskey juggled the ball under control before slipping a pass into the Basel penalty area for Vladimir Smicer, who rolled a perfectly weighted pass in the direction of the on-rushing Danny Murphy, who side-footed a gem of a controlled shot from the edge of the penalty area and into the booked corner of the Basel goal. 3 minutes later, it was about to get all rather interesting. Goal! Basel 3, Liverpool 2, Smicer, 64 minutes. A combination between Salif Diao and Michael Owen dropped into the path of Vladimir Smicer, who screwed a scruffy shot into Zubabula's near post and into the corner of the net. Unbelievably, with 2 goals in 3 minutes, the game was truly back on, and Liverpool had 26 minutes in which to score a further 2 goals. Anything but that, or worse, meant elimination from the Champions League. Goal. Basel 3, Liverpool 3, Owen 85 minutes. With 5 minutes remaining, Michael Owen first won a penalty for a blatant handball in the penalty area before missing the resultant penalty kick and then scoring from the rebound save of Zubabula. Liverpool had 5 minutes in which to score a 4th and winning goal, but it was not to be, and St Jacob Park erupted all around us as the Reds were now, if not unceremoniously, but still dumped out of the Champions League into the UEFA Cup, and a failed attempt to win that very competition would end against our Scottish friends and rivals Celtic the following year. Buns and I negotiated a hairy and incredibly packed tram ride out of town before hailing a taxi to carry us back across the border to the hotel, our safely parked car, and the start of a night's driving back from whence we came just 2 days before. It was mid-afternoon as I dropped Buns back to work with the rich and famous, and I trooped home with my lucky 7th European journey following the Reds of Liverpool under my belt. I look on with envious eyes at every European trip, and I'm thankful that I had a lucky 7 along the way. Sorry for the self-indulgence there. There you go. Another edition, another garden sessions edition from the Blackford Book Club. From this book that I'm incredibly proud of, and I'll be proud of until my dying day. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate you being there, even though I'm staring at a camera into the abyss of the Matrix, but I leave you in both of those, as usual, and a Radiohead t-shirt. Peace, everyone.